And since we ran our Cinebench test, we could always run a Cinebench test against that in a situation. But let me go ahead and get the 3D Mark started and kind of see what I can do right after. Or as far as a closing portion of getting like a Cinebench run. We actually got a pretty good one, but that was also with my OC clocked one. So I don't really know if I want to like go against just a normal one without having like a decent situation for as far. I'm wondering why it's telling me to download the ray tracing thing when it really doesn't even have ray tracing on it. That's pretty funny. But everyone, if you're watching this very short one and you didn't watch the whole debacle before, you can always watch the patch notes that are in the very front, and then when stuff starts going awry, I mean, just click to this. This is the tail end. So this is running way more smoother than what it was 13.4, 13.4. We have this. Let's go ahead and go to our situationable. This is very, very stock, super stock. But the main point of this is to test update to update what we got. And the cool thing is right after this, even though I don't have it inside of this testing point, I will bring up what we tested in the prior stream when this was acting so just crazy. I don't know why it was being a punk, but I knew going into this that this would probably be an issue. But now at least I've dialed in what the heck is going on with that. So it's like next time I should just be able to hit the floor and running and just be able to knock it out instantaneously without having any issues. Now I do like the smoothness that it came inside of this. Like one of the things that I noticed is a lot of times you get the choppiness, which I can kind of see a little bit minutely as you kind of look at like more of like the heat waves as you're going around. You'll see minute like artifact glares when it goes around like the bends of the columns. You think it'd be heat waves, but it actually looks like it's like kind of like tearing aliases. But besides that, it seems like a lot smoother than normal. I usually detect it a lot easier, but just like natural eye looking over at it. So it's switching back between its lovely game mode. Should be in HDR time. Better be in HDR. No, it's not in HDR. You are just in a hot mess mode right now. And that might be the reason why it's running like so, how can I say this, with a validity right now. But I think I know how to click that on. I don't know why it's going to non-HDR mode instantaneously. The whole platform I wanted. That way it pushes it hard. But you can definitely see the difference in color and pixelating points. HDR versus other points is, it hasn't really gotten its plateau point of palette colors, because you really have to customize a lot of it in order to really make it look more naturally vibrant. Alright, so we got into the CPU test portion. That's usually when I hear my freaking AIO go like really fast with like the actual RPMs. It's just like, hey, I'm trying, can't do much. Except for just try to breathe. But I made some really cool like holes directly like into the front case, so it looks like almost like an air inlet. And I want to put like a nice little, I keep saying that every single, oh, finally switched to HDR. Yay! It realized. It's smart. Good job, Radeon. You're gonna graduate the first grade this year. Even though your job's obsolete. I feel like it's gonna throw something at me. I keep saying stuff to it. Now I definitely can hear the Radeon card booting in a little bit, but it's nothing super crazy. But we've finally gone back to HDR, so I don't know what's going on with it. It kind of went back and forth. Now that was a huge improvement. Holy crap. Actually, that's stock. Validation warning. What the hell are you talking about? What? The graphics driver really like just disapproved me from getting inside of there? Like, how is that fair? That's so not fair. And I slaughtered those FPSs. That was actually really interesting. This driver seems really good then. Okay, let us go to, I need to compare tests online. That way I can show you the last one because we roughly, I got, I think 87? 87 was what we got in the last point. But that is so weird. It won't let me run the actual physical graphical drivers right now. Could be that it just came out and they haven't updated this yet and it coming into a gameplay. So I definitely got a pretty decent score when it came down to that situation. Like, I like that because if you look at my results, what we just did versus what we just got, we've got an increasement of a plateau jump of at least almost dang near like 30 points. It is 30 points. So that's not even with an overclock. With that being said, and we got that, let's see if we can push it on a nice overclock now, since it seems like the other one really wasn't working, and see if it pops the same code again. It may be very well that this hasn't been updated directly, and that the other portion has very well optionable points. So let me go ahead and shut this down, shut down this pop-up, and we're gonna go to our Wattman. All right, so we're gonna go up here, bam, bring this down here. Feel like that'll be the sweet spot. Kind of go into 1212. Kind of cool. Manual frequency. You can always do automatically frequency, but I think that might mess it up. Now I'm gonna bring this curve so it's like a straight line. It's nice. Just goes, has no filtering points. I'm gonna leave this automatic. I'm not messing with it because I feel like that's where I messed it up last time. I had this last easily. Let's go ahead and click this. I know I can get this up to at least 1100. Sorry, my keyboard was having issues. Alright, so I'm thinking that that's pretty cool. Memory timing, I'm not messing with that. Manual frequency, we'll mess with that. We're already pushing towards that. Power limiters, temps around there for automatical points. I think we're going to hit apply, see what happens. Should be fine. I'll see a big spike and then a plateau hit, and then I know I've already taken. But at the same time, the Wattman itself is not horribly reliable. It has its faults and issues. That's why like just overclocking yourself stuff through the BIOS sometimes is the most proficient way of getting your computer to run like lightning. But now I just need to make sure that it actually took. Which it definitely did. So we have all our settings, everything seems to be good. Let's test it out. But I always personally like shutting these down and then rebooting them, just because sometimes you run into some issues. Now we're just gonna go back to back with our fire strikes. I'll know instantly if it fails because it won't be doing its job. I'll just go to black screen of death instantaneously. It's been a rough stream, but it's been fun. I saw a lot of people inside that chat, and I appreciate you folks. It's just kind of a bummer when things don't pan out as well as you want it to be sometimes. So, 'tis what it is, the way I look at it. Can't really get mad about spilt milk, but hey, our overclock is somehow working. Yes! No! Wow, like its overclockability is just like garbage right now. So it's either got to be the memory band frequency that I'm messing with, or the fact that I'm messing with the arch of like the power. Because like before, I never had an issue with this, and I was just like belting scores out. Now we can also try to hit like an auto overclock and see if that even works, and see if maybe just the card in general in its own standpoint right now is just like not taking life. Could be. I mean, I don't know. I'm really curious now to see what's going on. Come on, computer. I know you can reset. This isn't fun. So far the third GPU crash, and this has been consistent when I've been trying to overclock it. Which was weird because the last stream it was so steady. It just let me mess with anything, and I was just like, all right, cool. Okay, we hit the reset. Cool, we got HDR land back. I just need you to work and overclock. Notification, drivers. Oh, look at this, look at this. It's all just crap right now. Man, this is just garbage. This card was so good. Maybe I pushed it way too hard last time. Okay, so it was very well successful. To be fair, it could have been that I was just kind of tipping out the clock count. Maybe I just need to go a little hair underneath it next time. Could be the performance issue that I'm just doing on that. So let's do a base test real fast. It seems to be like it's taking it. I just need to see improvements instead of 3D benchmarks. Like that's literally what I need to see right now. Because we're at 74 and I know I can push this card to at least 78 to 90 easily on the percentile where we're at. All right, let's go expand, benchmark. Fingers crossed. I mean, to be fair though, last time it at least made an attempt to want to run it, which was really nice. Like it got into like 2 seconds of it, and it was just like, no. I was like, why? But I got promising feelings that this one will work really well this time. It'll be nice. Our HDR is there. Okay, so far we're good. So I'm starting to see maybe we need to next time I put the bandwidth, we'll put it at 2000. Just a hair underneath it, so it just like kind of gets the 2 up on the like the frequency, and maybe that's it. Because like trying to dig deep on to try to figure out what the difference what I did last week versus this week. Cool, our decibel count's going on. And that thing naturally is pretty crazy. Decibel count. When you can kind of see what this is looking like. That's just ambience with about 2 feet away from it. And if I got a lot closer, hold on, that's pointed at it right there. I gotta get angle. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Is there a light? That'd be so cool if they had a light on it. So if I got a little closer, it easily would go up by like 7 to 5 decibels. So you can probably easily say that this range is from about 61 to like 51 decibels on like a nice overclock, and probably can get a lot louder. It always sounds like an angry nest of hornets. It really does. So I'm glad that this OC took. That has proved to me what I need to do in order to make it work now. Man, I guess I got a little too bold with my numbers. Combined test, it should show me HDR. Man, I wonder why it's tripping out on like a lot of the HDR stuff. I have to admit, this update seems very scattered. Like, I like it, but it's also showing me that my computer's running a little different. So if it continues to be like issue points, like between HDR and non-HDR, I might have to roll back the update, like just because it situationally happens like that. But I have a feeling it's more than likely, now that this is up to par, I need to update my Windows. I think that more than likely what it is probably that I have a hidden Windows, because now it went back to HDR. It's flip-flopping back and forth and doesn't know what to do. So it's almost like it wants to perform a hell of a lot better, but it can't. So we've got some cool comparable tests. Let's go ahead and compare them online versus what we just directly got. We can kind of get a nice situation. So we're still at 48. Damn it. Barely even moved on that. Figured we could kind of move up a little bit. But let's go ahead and see my result. You can see that we drastically definitely did shoot up almost over 100. But if we look at like the other ultra tests, where I get past this, where is it? AMD, Intel. Alright, Firestrike Ultra. I was able to cap this before, which wasn't that bad. I mean, like, I'm a whole 100 underneath that. So I'm gonna mess with it. We're gonna mess with it right now. We're gonna get a really cool test. Alright, Watman. You ready for this? You better be. Well, that's cool. Let me look at something really quick. Yeah, the HDR layout's like fine. Everything's turned on. That's just so weird. Oh no, it's back in its HDR mode. This is just keeps getting interesting and interesting. But let's go to our OCs. Go to my manual. Cool, the Watman reset. This thing definitely does have a lot of issues. So let me give it 2050 on the megabytes. Stabilize this curve. Let's go ahead and bring up my power limits. And I'm not even gonna mess with that memory. We're gonna start just messing with the frequency and lock in something stable with the power and see what we just get off the bat. I kind of feel like I have more headroom just in case, and I've gotten that headroom before. So it seems like the OC itself has adapted very well. So let's go ahead and close it. See my benchmark. See what happens from here. Okay, here goes something. We will know within the first few seconds if this thing crashes. And then I'm going to give my final verdict if people should install this, which is the very first time ever that I've given a final verdict for an update. Because usually I'm like, hey, it's hunky-dory, it's great, you should totally update. But the fact that 3D Mark's not accepting the tests, which was really weird the first time, the interesting portion of that, but it also makes me want to update my Windows before I give my final verdict too. I guess I can always follow up with that later, like on another portion of like what the installs go with. But I mean, hey, we're seeing great improvements, but I'm not really hearing my card boot up the way it should. Oh, there it goes. It's heating up now. I hear it. Definitely not as loud as it normally is. Now 2050 I know I can hit for sure because I've seen a lot of other people kind of like dial that into the sweet zone. I was just trying to stretch it because last time I believe I did get up to the 2200. I can always reference that too because I guess it has it on like the loadouts that are saved. That's one of the things I love about 3D benchmark is I can always reference back. I'm like, what the hell was I doing? And they're like, oh right, yeah, I did this, this, and this. Because a lot of this stuff is just me kind of like just calibrating it as I go. I had really good luck the last stream with it. I was just like bam, 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 and just kept shooting it out. Now, obviously 6,770 is the score I'm trying to attempt to beat at this, and I feel like I'm going to get like 2,750. I feel like I'm going to fall short just a little bit of it. But with the way that this performance is going on this updated general, it may slaughter it because it, by stock, by definition, it's 30 points higher, which means it probably is like a % or 2 more efficient. But it also seems very unstable. So it's like I could see people like commenting like I installed this and now it's acting weird, kind of vibe to it. And like the 19.7.5 was not a bad update. I kind of liked it personally myself. The 8 Saga, I'm not liking too much because it seems like maybe they focused way too much on the RTX series of the 5700, just trying to mile out a whole bunch of issues, but that inadvertently could have caused a lot of issues with other graphics cards like the RTX 570s or like the Radeon 7s, which I'm rocking at this point in time and running into a few encumbered portions of just issues. So let's just see. We're gonna run the test because obviously it's getting towards the very end where it's like, hey, I could do this. That's great. I'm kind of glad I divided these into 2 episodes, I guess, because one is going about 20 minutes already, and the other one, it roughly about was like a good portion. Now, it's definitely fighting to be about 15 FPS where it normally goes about 12. So it's doing a great job with the OC. But the fan is not as loud as I want it to be. I want it to be louder. Damn it. Okay, so I did well with bringing up the benchmark for sure, but it wasn't good enough. All right. I need to beat my score by at least 30. Okay, let's try by another 100. Does anyone else notice that? Like, you see how it jumps? That is weird. Okay, let's see how that works. I want to bring this base up just a little bit. There. Now that I know this works, let's go ahead. I'm going to attempt to mess with the memory first. I want to push you up. Go up by, let's say, 70. Okay, let's go ahead and apply. I've stretched out the whole frequency a lot longer. Let's go ahead and run a test again. Now I'm guessing with this one we'll at least hit the 750 mark. I think at least the bare minimum or match our score. Because I did OC the crap out of the bandwidth, the frequency. So either that or it's gonna crash and that'll be the end of the stream. But so far so good. Fan seems extremely loud. Are you fucking serious? Okay, so this update, I'm definitely gonna give my verdict at this point in time. It's not stable for overclocks. You can definitely utilize their Wattman overclocks, but I'm gonna go ahead and pretty much sum up. If you want a faster overclock, I'm gonna suggest the 19.75 Saga. You can definitely get it between the 19.753 and 19.75. So those are the two that I would definitely recommend for as far as if you want to overclock. Now, as far as this one, I mean, besides showcasing it, if I run into some issues, I don't really run too heavy clocks on these situations because I'm not really gaming off of that. I'm more utilizing it as a decoder for like my Facebook gaming streams. Which, if you haven't gone to that network, you can find me at M7 at a flash, or at M7 in a flash. I know I said that really weird. But just M7, you can find me there directly. That's where I usually do my streams and stuff like that for like Facebook gaming. But that's mainly what I utilize this encoder for, because it's just not capable of doing 4K. So I'm like, all right, you can just handle the picture, but you need to be shooting over 1080p stuff. So it's not the world's smartest card. I get that. But it definitely was the disruptor, which was needed in order to get, I guess, NVIDIA to get off their rocker to realize we were done with this crap and that we wanted something that was going to be a lot like more tunable. So now I am still convinced. Let's go right here, 1100. Bring it down. This is my last attempt at doing an overclock. After that, I'm donezo. Leave the memory frequency by itself. Turn this up. Hit apply. And we're gonna see what happens here. Because I feel like I've done this before really well. Do 1150 in the millivolts. Or 45, that should be fine. Okay, so the fan's running decent. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back over to the overlay since everything is there now. See, I'm getting back to the situation. Alright, last attempt, and just so everyone sees, because I know I didn't have it directly on that overlay, what I'm doing. See where I made the curve and the fan adjustments with the same thing without touching the memory. The memory is going to go automatic. I am not messing with that right now. For some weird reason, I do believe me messing with the memory is the reason why. I might be wrong, but I just needed to run through its test really fast. I think this might win though, just because I'm undervolting it. Maybe like in the last one, it's just getting a lot more temperamental. It also could be the heat. I just went through an extraordinarily big heat wave in my town not too long ago. So yesterday and today it's going to be pretty hot in the general standpoint. So it could just be my computer just like, I'm not really digging what you're pushing me. I don't have liquid metal on this processor. And you don't want to put liquid metal on the processor that you have with the Radeon card. I was watching DeBauer, and like he had ripped apart the card and he had showed liquid metal being applied to it, and he was just like, you know, it's not really worth it. It gives you maybe a nominal 1% increasement. The thermal carbon pad that they have in between there, it's way more utilization of the longevity in order for you physically, in order to give yourself a nice little package situation. Now, I'm definitely seeing like a bigger portion of what's going on. It definitely does say that like the driver almost seems like it needs to be in tandem with the new Windows update. So I'm thinking that more than likely what it might be. I'm gonna go ahead and when it boots up, instead of doing another like quick OC, I feel like I should check to see if the Windows update's there. So I'm gonna end the stream, I guess, right there, that portion, and say thanks everyone for staying tuned. We try to beat some scores. I really don't like this update so far. I kind of think this is kind of the not good, but I'm gonna try to update my Windows. If it boots back in and all of a sudden it runs really well, I will run a test again real fast, just showcasing that very shortly as the third part of this stream. But if you are new to the network and you have gotten this far into the situation, I want to thank you so much for getting there. But along the ways, if you definitely do subscribe, maybe I'll turn into a Radeon 7 card and be better than the one that's actually next to me. Not really, but that'd be hilarious. NVIDIA would probably be pissed and AMD would want to study me. But besides that being an actual GPU transformer, well, with the romanticization of it, I'm going to say, everyone, thank you so much for staying tuned. Let me go ahead and see if I can install that update and see what's going on. I have a feeling that that might be the mill ticket, especially since they put it several times inside of their patch notes that you might want to do this, you might want to do this. So let's check it out. I'm going to go ahead and say thanks, everyone, and I will be right back, hopefully.